Welcome back to another episode of the Dunwoody Dialogues. We are so happy that you're joining us for another of these shows. We are on location, and we'll get to our guests in a moment here, but I tell you, it is so much fun to get out of the office. We're doing this late afternoon, and I'm going straight home after this, so I'm really stoked. I am Mark Galvin. I am your host for the Dunwoody Dialogues with Discover Dunwoody. We're so happy that you could join us today. We are always interviewing wonderful people here in Dunwoody. So go check out our other shows, our other episodes. You'll see there's some great people out there. In fact, we recently interviewed our mayor, so you can go see that interview with our mayor, among other people. So we'd love for you to check those things out. We are thrilled that we can introduce you today to our two guests today. We are bringing to you from Ark Coffeehaus here in Dunwoody, Priscilla Wells and John Yacoub. Welcome to both of you. John, I got to do this. Did I say your last name right?
Yes.
All right. I know many people say that a couple different ways, so you're just not being nice to me, right?
I'll accept anyway. Don't worry about it.
You're used to all that.
Yes.
Well, I love that. Well, let me give you a little bit of a bio on Priscilla and John. And I'm going to start with Priscilla, not because I prefer her over you, or she just happens to, I'm going left to right here, right?
This is about the tea, isn't it?
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
no,
wow.
this is really about sibling rivalry, and I know how that can go. So you good with that? I'll start with her? Okay, cool. Priscilla, you had a job in real estate. You were on the finance side of real estate, and it wasn't in Georgia. Where were you doing that work?
In Southern California.
Great.
So up until about 2010, that's where I was, and I came here. I went back, and now I'm back in Dunwoody.
Well,
I couldn't stay away.
Well, I think I heard somewhere along the way that you never actually sold your home in Dunwoody, even though you went to California. So you never really pulled up your roots.
I never changed my driver's license. So when I was back there for about 3-year period, I knew that ultimately I'd be back in Georgia and in Dunwoody for that matter. So.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
John, you did the real estate brokerage side, so you were in charge of, and I think I know this well enough, but correct me if I'm wrong. On the real estate brokerage, you were organizing the folks that were buying and selling properties. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We would work with agents who would work with those folks. So
Perfect. Commercial or was it residential?
we handled both.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You guys are in California. You're in a great space for real estate. You know, California is known for having a great and robust real estate market, but you never stopped thinking about Dunwoody, and you came back here to open this coffee shop. Is that right? More or less?
Yeah, so November of 2019, I came back, purchased my now residence that's in Dunwoody, and planned to move, which I did on Christmas Day of
Oh, wow.
2019. I was
Okay.
flying out as a Delta flight, the first one I could get out. Came here with the intention of building out this space. It wasn't initially intended on being a coffee shop in the way it's envisioned now. It was supposed to be adjacent to our real estate brokerage next door.
Okay.
And this coffee shop would be open to the public, but it definitely has evolved since those plans, from everything since COVID hitting to where we are now, that now it's a coffee shop with not even really a side of real estate. So
Oh, I love that. So one of my favorite questions to ask, those of you that have seen our shows know that I like this question. We've teased out a little bit of it, but what do you do and why do you do it? So we know you do coffee, but really describe what do you really do in this coffee shop?
Well, we wanted to make a coffee shop that was in line with just our values. You know, it's especially when we looked at what was out there. Priscilla has a lot of passion for tea. She's been blending teas for, I think, over 20 years.
Wow.
I was a hobby coffee roaster. I'd always be playing around with coffee myself.
Wait. So you were roasting your own coffee?
Yeah, just at home.
So I didn't know you could do that. That sounds kind of dangerous.
You can do that with a popcorn popper.
You're kidding me. Really?
Yeah.
So you got raw beans? What do they come green?
Yes.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got green beans. Think about that. And then you roasted those, and how long did it take you to figure out, okay, this is how long you roast, this is what I roast with? What did that look like?
Just a lot of experimentation and a lot of
Wow.
bad batches of beans. And
That is so cool.
And a lot of caffeine high just from the roasting, the gas it gives off. So
No,
yeah,
really?
yeah, you have to open your windows or things get pretty interesting pretty quickly.
That's
So,
really interesting.
yeah.
No, I think that's fascinating. Like Emily's off camera. She's like, I didn't know that. So, all right. So you played around with making coffees, and Priscilla is tea. And how do you mix tea? What did you do there?
So it's definitely a labor of love, and it was born out of necessity. So when I was a lot younger, there was a shop called Tivana. I was obsessed with it. I would spend my whole paycheck there.
Yeah.
And at the time, they had over 100 different blends of teas, and since then they were bought by Starbucks, which whittled it down to about 5 of what I consider some of their worst teas that they had.
Oh no.
So to make up the difference, I started labbing it out to find how to make my favorite teas again.
Wow.
So since then, I've always had a little tea nook at my house and a coffee nook, although I don't drink coffee as much as John. But the process of blending teas is just kind of knowing what flavors are going to complement what tea you're putting it with, and there's interesting, unique little things that you learn as you go. So, for instance, citrus doesn't stay in the tea that well, so you'll use a fruit that will absorb the citrus and then dehydrate it, like an apple.
Okay.
So, if I wanted something to be very citrus heavy without getting bitter, I would take apples and absorb lemon juice and then dehydrate it so that it
Wow.
maintains that
had no
significance
idea.
of flavor. Yeah.
That is so cool. So I have a throat issue going on, and I've been going out and buying a tea litter. It's called Throat Coat. I need to come see you. You could probably help me figure out.
I have a few things that I'm going to send you home with.
Oh
I've
my
already
gosh,
been
this
thinking
is
about
fantastic.
it.
I
Yeah.
love that. All right. So is there a deeper why you're doing this? Is there between the two of you, each of you have your passions, coffee, tea. I'd love to ask each of you separately. John, why this coffee shop? What is it? And this is sort of the passion piece. Why are you doing this?
Well, I mean, the passion that you can see on the wall behind us, and that's that we wanted to have a place that was a place where we could be hospitable.
Okay.
Like the medium right now is coffee and tea and baked goods and whatever else we can find. But ultimately, we want to make a place that's welcoming. We want to make a place where we can exercise hospitality. Again, you can see it on our walls. We have our principles of we want to have great quality. We want to support our community. We want to have what we call regenerative practices. And
Good.
then lastly, we want to make sure that our people are taken care of, that they,
That's terrific.
it's a place where they can feel not only supported financially, but emotionally.
I love that. Now, I think this is all in screen. I'm going to read this just in case some of it's not. Our business is hospitality. Our medium is darn good coffee. And this is not you didn't go buy this someplace. So there's not they didn't go down to Pottery Barn and buy some, stick it up here. This was literally drawn by Priscilla's husband. What's your husband?
Jeremy.
Jeremy is an artist extraordinaire. And so we found out this took about 5 hours, and he just kind of, I guess he probably outlined it with some pencil and then just painted it. It is absolutely stunning. And throughout the entire space, there's pieces of art that Jeremy has generated. So to come in here and see some of the work that Jeremy's done, I think you'll appreciate it. But this does show, and to me, it's the essence of some of what you're talking about, creating an environment that's unique, that is hospitable, which shows, in essence, almost like a love. You guys love what you're doing. You want to love your customers, and that creates a desire where they want to come back. They want to spend time in this space. Now, those were my words, by the way, not yours. But John's shaking his head, so we're going to assume that he said that too. You good with that?
I'm good. Yeah.
All right, rock on. Priscilla, why
Yes.
do you do this?
In addition to everything John said, which I'm passionate about as well, my husband and I operate a 20-plus acre regenerative farm about an hour southeast of here. And having a real estate background, I have seen land and its use stewarded very well and very poorly. So part of the tenets and things that we wanted to build into the coffee shop is a place that supports local, but genuinely supports local. And that's in its inputs and its outputs. So also having the farm and understanding how that works. We wanted a place that carried nutrient-dense food, that is all made in-house, that has no artificial sweeteners, colors, preservatives, and things that we have found to be not the best to consume as regular as we're used to consuming it now.
Wow.
So that's something I've been really passionate about, and something that we've been pioneering, maintaining in the area that you don't see as often. So it's also kind of like a cool segue for other businesses to see it's possible. It's not as far off as we think, and it's
Wow.
a way to
I love
support a very local supply chain.
I think that's interesting. This is so there are a lot of people that say, well, you can't run a business that way. You can't make money that way. The way you guys have your scraps and your recycling and the way you even have them labeled makes it really easy to understand that. But the food scraps, they go into that bin over there. What do you do with those food scraps?
They are composted on the farm, either by animal means of them eating it, and their brown waste then goes into, our compost pile, or they just go directly into the compost pile, depending on what it is, which becomes a really great.
Good. So what if I don't know what a composting means? What does that mean when I compost? What does that create that you can use?
Sure. So composting is a way of taking like biomatter, allowing it to break down again to where it's a baseline input that we can use in the garden, and it provides a nutrient-dense cover that it's considered the principle of return. So whatever we took from the ground, we use the compost to put it back into the ground. So instead of robbing our soil consistently, we're kind of just feeding everything back into it. So that's what compost does.
I think it's great. That's really cool. And then you're recycling everything. How do you recycle? And I'm just curious because I live in DeKalb County myself, and I'm separating the glass and making sure that the single stream recycling actually is effective. Where do you guys recycle?
So that's an interesting question. Everything that's customer facing is actually compostable. So our cups, the cups that you think are plastic are not plastic. They're 100% compostable. So everything is intended on being composted. So while we don't have necessarily ceramic mugs that you sit down with, the cups that are used by all of our either staff in the back or our clients are easily broken down back into the compost that we were just talking about.
That is so cool.
So recycling can be a little bit difficult. You don't know what number means what, but this is pretty easy. It's all just going to be broken back down into plant matter.
I think that's awesome. Okay, so I want to ask why Dunwoody. I think we have a sense for that. Is there any reason why you guys picked Dunwoody besides living here, having a home here? Is there another reason why you picked this location?
Well, I mean, for me, it had a lot to do with just basically the idea of blooming where you're planted. Like,
Okay.
This is where I came to Dunwoody because this was the kind of place I wanted to raise my family, as opposed to California where we were before. And I want the type of work I do to be something that is visible to them, that's near to them, it's not remote, that, the same people I live next to can be the people I'm serving. Like, I want to basically be kind of what Priscilla was talking about, the principle of localism. I want to be living and working where I'm at. So
It's one of the reasons why I love working in Dunwoody. One of the things that we promote all the time is that we're the biggest little city you could ever meet, because I know everybody in town. Even though this is 50,000 people, we are able to build a community. Priscilla, what are your thoughts with that? Why Dunwoody?
Exactly what John said, but also the part of Dunwoody that we live in, if you're going to 141 or I guess 285, this corridor, there's no coffee and there wasn't anything kind of scratching that itch. So it seemed like the perfect location. It just seemed like a very unserved market. And it was more, we decided to put something somewhere that we would want it because we're residents, and we, if we wanted to have at least a local establishment, I would have to go the opposite direction of 141. So
I think it's great. And we are on the eastern side of Dunwoody, for those of you that know Dunwoody. The eastern side of Dunwoody is closer to Peachtree Boulevard / Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. I don't know where it switches, but it's just around the corner from here. And so you are serving a different demographic. This is probably the furthest that we go from Discover Dunwoody, as a matter of fact. Most everything is over there on that western side. So I think that you've hit on something. You're serving a different demographic, different part of the city. So that begs the question, how's business?
Business is good.
Yeah.
Really? You've been open
yeah.
how long?
6
6
months,
months.
tomorrow.
6 months tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good.
Wild.
Yeah.
And you're thrilled. You know, there are a lot of coffee shops I've seen open that kind of run 6 months, think, okay, this didn't work. This is working well, and you're getting some great business. Why? What do you think is the genesis of that good business?
The community here is incredible.
Oh, wow. Really?
And I think we had a sense of that because obviously that's why we decided to put roots down here. But to the capacity that we had no clue the amount of incredible support we would receive. And I mean, we've had emotional moments over it. We have regulars that come in that when we won Best Coffee Shop of Perimeter for 2024.
Rock
and
on.
we had, folks that were on vacation in Europe voting for us, and that just meant so much to us that mattered. And yeah, y'all have been so amazing.
That is so cool. And that's in the Appen Media.
Yes.
It's the Dunwoody Crier is the local, but yes, that's pretty cool. The Best of Perimeter. That is awesome.
Yeah. It's quite an honor.
So, why Dunwoody?
Why Dunwoody? Again, just it's the place that we want to be present. We want to be people, kind of like how Priscilla will make sure that she puts back in what she takes out. We want to do that.
That's good.
Like societally, because they give a lot to us, especially here. Like we said, we're doing very well for a new business because that's very difficult, as I'm sure everybody knows. But just that people would so welcome us and be supportive in ways we didn't anticipate. The fact that we haven't had to go to extreme measures to get people's attention. They came to us. That was amazing. And
yeah, it's really cool. Did you see what John just did, by the way? Yeah, John just answered the question I wanted to ask, and that was how's business? And I asked you how's Dunwoody. But that's great. And so you're seeing the same thing. You feel like the business is good because of the local community.
yes, yeah,
That's
very
so
much
cool. I love that. We love it that you're here, right? One of the things that Dunwoody needs more of are local entrepreneurs. We love all our restaurants, and I do mean that wholeheartedly. We have some fantastic restaurants that are chains and have multiple locations, and they're here in Dunwoody. We love them. But it would be great to have more folks like you open up unique businesses here in Dunwoody that the only place you can experience it, the only place you can find it is right here in Dunwoody. So we love that we love that you're successful. We want to make sure that we help you get there too, but it's also great to hear that the local community is leaning in. So like any smart business person though, things got to get better. You've always got to look, okay, can't rest. What's the next thing that you think has to happen to make you even more successful or make this a sustainable success?
I mean, part of it's going to be just getting more depth into Dunwoody, just meeting the community around us more. We still get people who come in and say, wow, I didn't even know you guys were here. And that's 6 months down the road. So,
Sure.
And that's on us to promote ourselves better, but just to meet more people, do more in the community until we get really to know the community more, get them in here.
Priscilla, what do you think? Anything else?
Yeah, I think both of you had mentioned that, being on the east end for a while, some of this area was kind of like a forgotten part of Dunwoody. And now that people are seeing more small businesses coming in the area, I think it's driving more traffic, and every little bit helps. So if someone's been here, if you guys enjoyed our offerings, or if you met us and you like us, I hope you have. If you can just let your friends know, hey, there's some cool stuff happening over at 141 Corridor, we would be happy to welcome you.
Yes. So let's get that word out. I think that's brilliant. I think it's something that you guys could team up with some other businesses that have the same sort of attitude about how to run a business, and who knows, maybe your coffee could be served there, and whatever their product could be served here. I've got some ideas. I'll talk offline on that. So speaking of your offerings of darn good coffee antique. He needs to come here and put antique here. Tell us about what you offer here. It's not just coffee and tea. I'd love to hear that rundown.
Well, I mean, the coffee side is just that we are offering what's called specialty coffee or third wave coffee. So that's coffee that is ethically sourced, that tends to be higher quality. It tends to be roasted a little lighter than is traditional.
Huh.
So you're going to get like a flavor profile out of the coffee, even the espresso, that's maybe different than what
Okay.
you would find conventionally.
So when I drink coffee, and I don't like coffee that bites back. I like good, smooth coffee, right? So if you roast it, I mean, I guess that makes sense. If it's not roasted as long or as dark, it's going to be not so bitter.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to get, coffee has a lot to give. There's a lot of fruit notes. There's, people will actually, I mean, it's kind of wild to see what type of descriptors they will use. And that's just because we're not, again, roasting the heck out of the beans. Because when you're doing that in massive batches, then you have to roast it that much because then it all tastes uniform. When you're serving it on a smaller batch basis, then you actually can get the different character that comes from the coffee.
Are you roasting all the coffee here?
No, we're actually partnered with Counterculture is our roaster right now.
All right, good. One of the challenges that I've heard about, I've read about these days, and this is not just coffee houses, this is across the board, is that coffee shops are having challenges with staffing, and even some are maybe potentially going to be unionized. Are you guys trying to approach staffing in a different way to try to, I don't know, make it easy on your staff? And if so, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's one of our tenets, is providing a living wage, so that alleviates a lot of stress on our staff. So what I mean by that is we have a no tipping policy because we start everyone off at a living wage. We don't want them to feel obligated or performative in that sense of having to earn the ability to survive. Alongside that, we are closed on Sundays. So
Wow.
we try our best that every staff member has 2 days off a week, but we certainly guarantee one, and that's Sundays. So that I think sets us apart, because in the service-based industry for a long time, people worked 7 days a week and oftentimes laborious hours, and it's really strenuous on families or the family unit. And us being family people wanted to provide our staff with a better quality of life.
That is great.
So.
And is it working, do you think?
Absolutely.
That's great. I love that. So you don't have a no tipping policy because you want your folks to make less money. And this is important, right? You're paying more
Yes.
than what these folks would get at a coffee shop making tips.
Correct.
So I think that's great. And they can depend on that. So we talked about what days you're open. You're open every day except Sunday. What are the hours when you guys open?
We open at 7 a.m. and we close at 2 p.m.
7 to 2. Those are really manageable times there. Who has to get here early, and what time does that mean? Who has to get here early, and what time do you have to be here to open at 7? Or do you trade off? Who's the early riser? That's the question.
John is.
John.
And our baker, so Stephanie, who's not with us today, who's our best half, she bakes everything from scratch in-house.
Oh my goodness.
So all of our food goods are baked by Stephanie, and again, they're made fresh because we don't use any preservatives. So no preservatives, no artificial sweeteners or
Wow.
colors. So she actually gets in by 6 a.m. and begins baking.
At least.
And
Yeah.
but she is baking throughout the day. So
Okay.
you may be here and see a new batch of Cinnarroll muffins come out,
Wow.
or like our signature Better Than Biscoff cookies, and she'll be back there just baking based on demand. So sometimes you'll come in and it'll smell absolutely glorious, and that's why.
Oh my gosh, that sounds absolutely delicious. So you're kind of on the way for me because I come up this way on 285. I think I need to stop off in the morning. I get here about 7:30, so I'm going to stop in. I'll be getting so you make a good chai tea?
Absolutely.
Because you've mixed the chai tea, haven't you?
I'm maybe biased, but yeah. We
I love
do.
chai tea. Chai tea in the morning with a great, I like a hearty biscuit or something that I can, gnaw on. It'd be
Scone.
good.
We have
Oh,
scones.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Those are technically
savory
biscuits,
and
aren't they?
sweet.
Yeah.
Aren't those biscuits kind of like?
Yeah.
We
I
have a
would
lot
call
of
The way we
a
make
lot of
them, yeah.
English residents in Dunwoody, so I'm not answering that. But
I don't want to get you in trouble.
yeah, no, this is accountability. It's great. If we
Yeah.
don't see you, I'm just going to send you this clip like throughout the year and be like, Mark.
There you go.
what's
Hey, where
going
are
on?"
you?
Yeah.
Come by. Yeah, there's a, that's one of the things that that I think you kind of bank on is, folks are coming along. You know what? I need a cup of coffee. I'm going to pop in there, and come in and get a quick cup and run out. So there are some shops that it's difficult to get in the morning. Am I going to come in here and have to wait 20 minutes to get a cup of coffee? No, I'm not joking. Sometimes you got to wait 20 minutes.
So,
What are wait times like?
no.
No.
However, you can also pre-order online on our
Shut up.
website, arkcoffeehouse.com.
Oh, there you go.
So if that's a concern, we have regulars that every day they just order online and it's ready for them. But no, if you're coming in for a great, darn good cup of drip coffee, there really shouldn't be any wait. It takes us 4 minutes to brew a new batch anyway. So
That's not bad.
yeah, we
I
got
mean,
you.
4 minutes is plenty. That's not a problem to get some darn good coffee. I'm just saying. I'd come in. All right, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here tomorrow. Who's here tomorrow morning?
No,
Both of us.
Both of us.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the morning. This is good. Now, for those of us that need more information, where can folks get more information on Ark Coffeehouse?
Online or on social medias. So our name is spelled ARKCOFFEEHAUS. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, or arkcoffeehouse.com.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you both for the
Thank you.
time.
Thank
you for opening this wonderful business here in Dunwoody. Find more friends to open businesses in Dunwoody. I have a feeling that
Working on it.
entrepreneurs find entrepreneurs. So maybe you can get a sandwich shop to open over here next door. When you guys are closing down, folks can go over there for a sandwich. Do you guys serve sandwiches?
No,
Okay,
but
so
we're
it's
excited to
complimentary.
see who's moving next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this empty old bank thing over there. We gotta let's get something in there that it can
Right there.
complement.
Something fun.
141 corridor with a drive-through wraparound. I mean, perfect location for.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Well, Priscilla, John, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
talking
much.
with us. We love that you're here. We're going to send as much business to you as we can. And if you ever need anything, you give Discover Dunwoody a call, and we will do everything we can to help you. So we thank you guys for
Awesome.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For all of you watching, thank you for watching another episode of the Dunwoody Dialogues. We love that you're catching our shows, and I want to give a shout out to some very important people. Emily Insler Gibson is our sound technician. We love the work that she does there because she makes this voice sound a little better, which has been a little hard lately. We also love all the work that Madison Holtz is doing as our producer, director, camera operator, technical setup. She does it all, and she sits there behind the camera and never gets any credit. So we love all the work that Madison does. We would love to remind you that we give away these Dunwoody stickers. So not only will we give these away in July the 4th, but you can get these all over town. In fact, you can come here to Ark Coffeehouse and get a free Dunwoody sticker. So it's just right there on the counter. You get your coffee, pick up a Dunwoody sticker, and let's put this on your car, people. We want everybody in town to know that Dunwoodians are so proud to be in Dunwoody. So pick up your free sticker here at Discover Dunwoody. You can go to City Hall. You can go to some of the other restaurants that we have good friends at. Even the library. You can go and get a free Dunwoody sticker. Or lastly, look for us July 4th, and we're always handing them out along the parade route. So until next time, come see us, stay in touch with us, follow us on our socials at Discover Dunwoody. You can find us everywhere, or go to our website, discoverdunwoody.com. And once again, until next time, come and discover Dunwoody.